If you squint or blink, you might miss it. But this is the TicNote, a hardware AI recording device. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Plod pin, but this is a kind of similar concept where it's using generative AI to basically be the best little recorder you can have. But this does a lot of things different. It's also the world's first agentic AI note taker. Yeah, this tiny card-shaped device has a lot of little tricks up its sleeve. And I love that it is card-shaped because it not only fits in its own like MagSafe wallet-like compartment that keeps it very safe and secure, but still completely accessible. But it means it also can fit in all sorts of wallets, and it barely takes up more space than a regular card. In fact, it weighs 29 grams, which is lighter than a lot of credit cards. And all it really is it's communicating with Bluetooth to your phone, and it's just a microphone. That's all it needs to be. And the app does a lot of the heavy lifting. And because of its 64 gigabytes of storage built in, it can record about 834 hours of audio, which is over a month of nonstop recording. Now, the battery won't last quite that long. It will support about 25 hours of continuous recording, but it can also do like 20 days of standby time. So if you're not using this too frequently, it shouldn't just die on you when you don't use it for a few days. And I will say charging it isn't my favorite. You have to use the little pins on the back and their proprietary charger. But with it being this thin, I don't really blame them for not obviously having a USB-C port or something like that on there. Makes a lot of sense. To me, like a wireless charging or that universal USB-C port is always easier, but this is not that bad. As far as the controls on the device itself, they are very straightforward. There's a switch and a button, and then a small display basically showing you what's happening. So the switch is only going between speaker mode and earphone mode. So speaker is for basically everything you're gonna wanna use. I actually am having it record this conversation that I'm talking to you guys right now, but when you're using it for a phone call, like let's say I got it in its fancy MagSafe wallet case here, and I magnetize it right to the back. If you switch to earphone mode while you're on a phone call, it will more accurately use the vibrations of the phone and everything like that to record the phone call better, both sides of it, even if you're not on speakerphone. And then the other button is just for everything else. It's for starting the recordings, it's for turning the display on, checking the battery, the Bluetooth, connectivity, and things like that. So it's the do everything button, and you hold it down for a recording, you tap it to see the display and things like that. It's really simple, but it's tactile and everything you need is right there. So now that we've been recording for a little bit and it caught all my little mistakes and blunders, we're going to stop this recording, and now I'm going to bring you guys into the app and show you what that looks like. So immediately when I'm in the app, you can see the TicNote device up here, the battery percentage left on it. I'm blurring out the serial number, but you can see that you can change the mic gain here. You can see what firmware version, and it did update as soon as I got this device. You can also use the record button and start a recording right from here. And as you can see, it is already transferring Blaze recording that I was just doing while talking to you guys. And it's already 47% done. The first thing it shows on all of these different notes is how it was recorded. So this one is a speaker. The one before it was the earphone, and then speaker before that again. And it kind of gives some tags and highlights of key points that was discussed throughout the conversation. You can also do a fast transfer, which was prompting me to do here. And basically that is you connecting via Wi-Fi directly to the device. So I'm gonna do that, say join, and it even shows a little indication on the device itself that it's going to Wi-Fi, and boom, it finished already like that. And it just automatically disconnects from Wi-Fi, goes back to your regular Wi-Fi, so you don't have to worry about going back into settings or anything like that. It's super fast, and it definitely makes the transfer quicker. So now it's working on transcribing and doing all its AI summaries and things like that to that note. But why don't we look at something else that I recorded? So this was a team meeting while I was also trying to read a story to my son. So it kind of combined the entire thing, which is totally fine because I wouldn't blame it. I mean, I was doing two things at once. But yeah, it caught the story telling from the book that I was reading with my son, some of the different updates, and at the end, it can show you a lot of the to-dos that were discussed in that meeting. So this was a really difficult one for it to summarize, to be honest, because it was really all over the place, and I was doing multiple things at once. So I was hearing what I was doing not in the meeting and what the meeting was happening is at the same time. I would mute myself occasionally and talk to people in the room. So it really tried its best. And honestly, I think it did a really good job. Here's like the full transcript. The one problem I have seen is that sometimes it mistakes the same person to be multiple speakers. That's like the biggest problem I think I've seen with the transcripts. And the accuracy is fine. It didn't shock me and blow my mind, but yeah, you can see it as a mind map. You can see any aha moments from the group. You can do some deeper research based on the things. You can generate a podcast all on the same topic. So really interesting. You can also chat with the shadow AI here and talk more about what was discussed. And another example I did was I just recorded a conversation that I was having with my friends. And we were just talking about different things going on with our lives. Some of this I'm going to blur out because it's personal information, but you'll see that we were talking about some of my sponsors and like just different things I'm doing right now. And they were talking about some of the other things. One of my friends just got married, so we're talking a little bit about that, cooking and baking, gardening, all of that kind of stuff. And it really captured and summarized our conversation incredibly well. Audio that it captured, I was like, how is it even pulling this information from it? So the AI, the generative AI here is really pulling its weight. Honestly, the microphone built in is not the most high-end microphone, and it doesn't really need to be. You're not really using this to play back audio recordings of your conversations all the time. That's not really what this device is for. If you really want to just record the conversation, you're probably better off using your phone and recording the conversation. But this is summarizing things, putting it into bullet points, structuring it well. And obviously I'm showing everything in English here, but it supports over 100 different languages. So wherever you're from, you're probably going to be able to use this just fine. And I love the to-do list that they generate at the bottom there. That is awesome. Super practical. All right, and now it has finished its transcription of the 5 or so minutes earlier in this video that I was having it record our conversation. So let's see how it did. So it's identifying that there's only one speaker, which is absolutely correct. It's just me talking, and it's really accurately recording a lot of this conversation that I've had, maybe a little too accurately. Sometimes I wish it makes me sound a little better, but hey, that's all right. It got what I said for the transcript. That's what that part's supposed to do. Now, the summary is perfect. I mean, it's talking about itself. I don't think it even realizes that, but that's okay. You can, as a content creator, 100% use this device while you're recording a video to also give you some bullet points or have a record of it, or even create captions and transcripts for yourself to have with the video. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the best use case for this, for me personally especially, just because I know I cut out a lot of little things that I'll say along the way, so the end result transcript isn't the same. But in theory, you could play the final edited video and let this hear it and then give you an accurate transcript of that. So that's 100% something you can do. I might even try that for this video and see if I can make my captions even better. So here's some to-dos it gave for me. So explore alternative charging solutions or adapters for increased convenience. So I guess the TicNote recommends that itself gets a more convenient charging solution. So maybe we should look into that. But yeah, I mean, even better adapters or something like that would be nice to have. And it says I should test the recording quality in various environments. Absolutely, that's totally what I've been doing, and I really like that. Evaluate long-term battery performance and storage reliability. Yeah, I quoted some great numbers here, but let's evaluate it. Let's do a long-term review. And that's what I plan on doing, guys. I don't plan this being my last review of the TicNote here. I want to follow up after using it for even longer. I've only had about a week with this device. As you can see, I've only used it a few times. So it is limited what the amount of time I've been able to use it, as it's been 4th of July weekend and craziness. Although I guess I could have recorded some of that. That probably would have been a great test. But the reality is, this works exactly in the way that it is intended to work. As a content creator, I can see many use cases where it'll be good to have a proper transcript or summary, or for those business meetings I have sometimes, hopefully I won't always be trying to read my son a book at the same time as the meeting, but for a typical meeting, having a summary and some to-dos after the fact is going to be super helpful. So for in any business capacity, in a lecture or just a classroom setting, having a great summary and transcript and to-dos for after your class or your meeting or whatever is very, very helpful. Now, the big question is this worth getting over just recording things on your phone? And I would say yes, if you're the right kind of person. So that person is someone who is in meetings or lectures all the time, or they're constantly needing full transcripts of what they're saying. Because by default, the built-in phone recorders don't usually have the best AI summary tools ever. I mean, Apple has now built it in somewhat, but it is nowhere near as advanced as what you see on their app here. That's a big one already. You need accurate, really detailed summaries. And if you want to follow up with an agentic AI, it's designed to just be your note-taking AI. It's all it's made for. Then this is incredibly helpful. And that's what this whole Shadow AI is meant for. So then off these notes that it gives us, we can chat with Shadow and say, okay, now write me a title and description for a YouTube video based off those notes. So as you can see there, it walks you through its whole process, because I had the deep think mode on. I didn't even realize that at first. But yeah, it goes through every little process and determining and going back and forth, and you can see all those steps along the way. You can feel free to pause at any time to see that better. But basically, now it spit out what it thinks is the best video title: ultra thin wallet recorder review, 834 hours of spy grade audio in a credit card. Don't know if I'd go with spy grade. That's seems a little sus, but hey, it's definitely a catchy video title. And then the description is very descriptive and gives even some highlights about the product, and even gave some tags. I didn't even ask for tags, but it gave some hashtags there, which is super helpful. And that's with me just giving a very, very simple prompt. Obviously, I could have been more specific about, I do this kind of tech video, so I need it with that kind of theme or whatever. But the point is, you can follow up with the AI after you have these notes and start making a game plan to tackle the to-dos, or actually turning it into something else super useful. Or you could, like, based on the transcription and say, how should I edit the video? And see what it can give us. And look at that. That's a pretty sophisticated editing plan that you can follow to the letter or just get inspired by. But yeah, that's really neat to be able to have basically this AI companion that can listen in and just keep track of things whenever you want it to. And I do think it is better than just trying to use your phone for all that stuff, because it's not your phone. Like, for me personally, I use my phone to do the recordings so often. So having it tied up, being an extra recording device, is quite a waste of an entire smartphone, in my opinion. And having something like this is way more discreet than, hold on, let me put my phone on the table so we can hear this conversation. No, you could just have your wallet there, and this is just in your wallet, and it can be recording and keeping track of things. And it doesn't have to be so in your face. as some other things might be. And you don't have to get the clearest sounding audio for it to still make pretty accurate transcriptions and really good summaries. Now, speaking of that shadow AI, it's probably going to be easier to access a lot of those functions when you're on the website itself. And this chat is consistent no matter which of these you go into, it stays the same. But why don't we look at creating a new knowledge base or kind of like a project here. So I'm going to say TicNote YouTube video. So as you can see, it's basically based on the knowledge bases is when the chats change. So now all this chat is going to be related to every document or file I upload here. From the web one as well, you also have a lot of export options, which is really nice. So basically exporting like any one of these things. So you can do the audio, you can export the whole mind map, you can export the podcast that they generate, you can export it as a text, markdown, docs, or PDF document. So we're going to export the transcript as a docs. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to upload that transcript. And now it's in here in our specific project as well. And it's going to create that preview and everything here. So here we go. This is another version of that very same report. And you can generate a podcast off of it and everything like that right from here. I want to take the next steps with my video. Are some suggestions you have? And while we're doing that, we can also hear this.
You know what's been blowing my mind lately? This ultra thin Bluetooth recorder I've been testing. It's literally as thin as a credit card.
No way, that actually fits in your wallet? How's that even possible?
Seriously, it's only 29 grams too. The engineering is incredible. They've managed to pack all the components into something you'd mistake for a hotel key card.
So obviously it'll keep going on, and the podcasts are kind of engaging. They definitely use that very generic AI voice that you hear on YouTube or whatever all the time. It's not bad. It still sounds more real than some voices out there. And here is some great tips that it's giving for the video. And yeah, I mean, all of them look pretty good actually. So why don't we give it something else to work with? So this is something to note. It doesn't view images directly. So okay, good to know, but it gives you some good tips for the thumbnail anyway. So it will let you upload images. It just kind of says images, PDFs, docs, text. It looks like it reads the text more. It's a very note oriented AI. So it's not an end all be all, but I can totally see if you're working on a project, you can also keep uploading your PDFs and your documents from that project, and it can store everything and summarize all that in this as well, which I think is super neat. So that's my review of the TicNote. Let me know in the comments down below if you would ever get a hardware dedicated AI recording device. I personally never thought I would, and then I was sent this over. They are sponsoring this video, so keep that in mind. But I was sent the TicNote, and honestly, I really like the form factor and a lot of the features that it can do. And I showed it off to some of my friends, and they're like, man, this thing is actually really neat. So is it perfect? No. Could it be useful for a lot of creative professionals, students, or business professionals? Absolutely. I think if you're in any of those categories, this can absolutely be a help to you. And they've got a sale going on right now all the way to the 15th. So if you're watching this before the 15th, please check it out. See if that's worth it for you. I think you will find this device really nice and helpful to use. And of course, if you have any questions for me, please leave it in the comments down below. I will either make a YouTube short or a full another video down the road after I get even more time with this device to see how worth it really was. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and of course subscribe. It really does help my channel to grow. And if you have a question on an iPad, on the SuperNote, on any of the devices that you've seen me review in this channel, and you don't see an answer anywhere on YouTube, comment down below and I will make it a goal to either just directly answer your question or make a short or full video answering your question. I really like to do that for you guys, so I don't want this to just be making the content that I want to make. I want it to be making the content that all of us want to see on YouTube. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and of course, have a great rest of your day.